Wait, which string is which? What does this X mean? Still staring at guitar tabs completely confused? All those symbols just look more and more complicated? After this video, you'll understand all the most common guitar tab symbols in one go. This is Tommy, and today we're learning guitar tabs. Guitar tabs, or tablature, are a type of sheet music designed specifically from a guitarist's perspective. They clearly show which strings to play, which frets to use, picking details, and many other playing instructions. Let's start with the basic logic of guitar tabs: strings and frets. This is the simplest version of a guitar tab. The 6 horizontal lines represent the 6 guitar strings. A lot of beginners find the string order in tabs a little confusing at first. Why does it seem backwards? The reason is actually pretty simple. If you hold your guitar with the headstock pointing to the left and look down at the strings, the order you see is exactly the same as guitar tab notation. This string layout is actually the most natural way to match the player's perspective. If you're using a left-handed guitar, the same logic applies. The relationship between the strings and the tab stays the same. The numbers written on the strings represent the frets. Just find that string with your left hand, press the corresponding fret, and that's it. That's the basic logic of guitar tabs. Once you understand this, learning the other symbols becomes much easier. Now let's go through the other markings one by one. Let's look at the information at the beginning of the tab. The letters tab are simply short for tablature. They tell you that this is a guitar tab. The note symbol in the top left corner shows the tempo. Equals 120 means there are 120 beats per minute. In other words, one beat lasts half a second. Sometimes you'll also see tuning information here. This tab uses open C tuning. If there is no tuning information shown, it usually means standard tuning. The numbers at the beginning of the tab show the time signature. You'll notice that guitar tabs borrow some symbols from standard music notation. Besides note values, they also use things like rests, bar lines, and other symbols. The difference is that guitar tabs combine standard note rhythms with fret numbers to show exactly where to play. For example, quarter notes, eighth notes, and other note values are combined with fret positions. With the tempo, time signature, and note values shown on the tab, you can accurately figure out the exact timing and rhythm of every note. Next, let's talk about 2 special fret symbols, 0 and X. The number 0 is easy. It means you don't press any fret, you simply play the open string. The X is a little more complicated because its meaning depends on where it appears. If you see an X together with fret numbers on the tab, it usually means a muted note, also called a dead note. This means your left hand lightly touches the string without pressing it down completely. Basically, your finger rests on the string without actually fretting the note. If you see a group of X symbols on the tab with no fret numbers and there is a chord diagram above it, those X symbols mean you should strum those strings as part of the chord. You'll also sometimes see X symbols inside boxes. These usually represent a percussive technique called a string slap or muted strum. Sometimes you'll see tabs filled with arrows. These arrows show the strumming direction. The direction of the arrow tells you which way to strum. And the strings covered by the arrow are the strings you should hit. You may also see these 2 symbols. These 2 symbols specifically indicate the picking direction when using a pick. However, they are not always used in a strict way, and some players also use them to indicate strumming direction. This small V means an upstroke. The symbol that looks like a pie means a downstroke. Besides these, there are also symbols for specific guitar techniques. For example, hammer-ons are marked with an H. A notation like 3H7 means first fret the 3rd fret and pick that note with your right hand, then use another finger on your left hand to quickly hammer onto the 7th fret of the same string. You don't pick again with your right hand. The vibration from the hammering motion creates the 7th fret note. Next is the pull-off, marked with a P. The logic is basically the opposite of a hammer-on. For example, with 7P3, your left hand starts by holding both the 7th and 3rd frets. You pick the 7th fret note first. Then the finger holding the 7th fret pulls downward on the string slightly while releasing. This creates the 3rd fret note without another pick attack from your right hand. There are also combined hammer-on and pull-off patterns, including continuous hammer-on and pull-off runs. Next, we have bending symbols. A bend marking can be understood in 3 parts: the starting note, the direction, and the pitch change. The starting note is shown by the fret number, like this, 7. The direction of the bend is shown with an arrow. A simple upward arrow means you bend the note up and hold it there. If the arrow has a release line going back down, it means a bend release. You first bend the string up to the target pitch, hold it, then slowly release the tension and let the string return back to the original pitch. There is also a symbol with a straight line. This represents a pre-bend. The idea is that you bend the string to the target pitch before picking. Then, while the right hand picks the note, the left hand slowly releases the bend, bringing the note back down. The number shown above the bend arrow tells you how much the pitch should change. Full means a whole step bend, raising the pitch by one whole tone. 1/2 means a half step bend, raising the pitch by one semitone. Other bend amounts follow the same idea. There are also many symbols that are directly borrowed from standard music notation or slightly modified versions of those symbols. But understanding the meaning is only the first step. You also need to know how to actually perform them on guitar. For example, slides. A slide means moving your left hand finger from one fret to another while keeping the string pressed. There are several types, including slide-ins, slide-outs, slides with no starting note, and slides with no ending note. The exact technique can be slightly different depending on the situation. If you see these symbols, you can look up standard music notation resources to understand what they mean. Then, if you're not sure how to perform them on guitar, search for the specific guitar technique. One thing to pay attention to is your guitar type. For example, the same trill symbol can be performed differently on an electric guitar and a classical guitar. Of course, this video only covers what these symbols mean. The real challenge is not understanding the symbols. The hard part is actually playing them correctly. That takes time, practice, and repetition. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.